thank you. Let's bring in our panel to discuss this and some other interesting stories developing. Criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor and adjunct professor of law at Cornell University, Randy Zellin with us, and also defense attorney Dwane Cates. Gentlemen, a pleasure to have you. All right, so I want to start, both of you pose this question. Is Jack Smith's appointment illegal? Randy, to you first.
Ask Peter Navarro. So we've been down this road before. I never, ever fault defense counsel for just looking under every rock and doing everything and anything to properly defend a client. But ultimately, the decision will be that Jack Smith's appointment was above board.
Dwane, do you agree with Randy?
I do somewhat. I mean, I think it's a little fishy. You know, you're hiring the fox to guard the hen house, so to speak. And I don't think, and I think that the Congress should have some say, because Congress have to approve assistant U.S. attorneys, and U.S. attorneys that get hired to be put on cases. But this is allowing them to just pluck somebody from the, they could call me up and say, hey, do you want to be a special prosecutor? And away we go. So I think it needs to be looked at. I think the rules and law probably need to be changed.
Well, we'll watch. Obviously, she has more hearings on Monday on a limited gag order that Smith wants on Trump. Everyone in all these cases wants to gag. He's still under the gag order, gentlemen, in New York. The prosecutor is now urging the judge there, Juan Merchan, to continue to keep it on Donald Trump because they don't want him criticizing jurors, court staff, or members of the prosecution. It's pretty unprecedented that the case is over. He's going to be on a debate stage, and he's holding a rally in Philadelphia, still under a gag order. Doesn't seem fair or doesn't seem legal, Randy, is it?
I can't necessarily speak to the legality because a judge certainly has the right to run the courtroom as the judge sees fit. Practically, though, if the purpose of the gag order was to ensure that both sides had a fair trial, judged by a fair and impartial jury, the trial is over. So what really now would be the issue with continuing a gag order on a trial that is over?
Exactly. It was always about his First Amendment rights to begin with. In this filing before where they tried to push back, they say now that the trial's concluded, it just does not justify these restrictions. But yet, I guess it is New York, Dwane.
Well, think about this. He's going to be on a debate stage. What's going to stop CNN anchors from trying to goad him into violating the gag order and getting him in trouble, or asking him questions that he can't answer because there's a gag order? I mean, I think it's ridiculous that it's still on after the case is over.
I just want to get your reaction, too, about Steve Bannon. You mentioned Peter Navarro. Steve Bannon is supposed to report for jail July 1st. He's appealing his case for these contempt charges, and he's asking now the Supreme Court to step in. This was a motion he filed today, July 1st, right around the corner. Do you think the Supreme Court will take this case up, Randy? And should they, for the sake of where we are, when many Americans are looking at him and Navarro and saying this seems very much against conservatives and lawfare?
Well, again, and I may have been wrong the first time around with Ask Peter Navarro, but I'm pretty sure I'm right this time with Peter Navarro. He did not get to stay out. I don't believe that Mr. Bannon will get to stay out for similar reasons.
All right, Dwane, Steve Bannon with this last-minute filing to the Supreme Court.
Well, I think if you just look at the fact that and ask yourself how many liberal Democrats have been prosecuted for contempt and put in jail, and I think the answer is probably in the last 10 years or 15 years is probably zero. And there's been plenty that have been found in contempt, but none have been put in jail. So I think that may be an argument that the Supreme Court wants to look at.
We will see. Supreme Court did not rule on immunity. I have just about 30 seconds left, but I'd like you both to react in our final seconds here to Eric Holder, the former Attorney General, talking about what he thinks should happen in this momentous decision.
Which one of us goes first?
Eric Holder on tape, if we have it. And then, Randy, you could take it.
A decision by the Supreme Court that says a president should be held to the laws just like any other American citizen should be. Anything other than that is absurd.
20 seconds to you each, Randy, then to you, Dwane, on a Friday afternoon. Eric Holder, always good to trot him out on liberal media.
10 seconds or less. I believe that the court will punt it back to the district judge, and that will basically end that trial before the election.
Dwane, final seconds to you, sir.
I agree. Same thing.
All right, we'll be watching and waiting. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Randy Zell and Dwane Cates. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate your legal expertise, as always.
Thank you.